She was screaming when I got there. Not yelling, screaming in pain, clutching her arm, sitting on the porch steps with two men standing over her. They wore cheap Navy uniforms with HOA enforcement stitched on the sleeves, and they had badges that looked like they came out of a Halloween kit. One of them pointed at me like I'd just trespassed on my own driveway. "Stay back. This is HOA property now." I froze for half a second, not because I believed them, but because I was trying to process the fact that my little sister's arm was bent in a way it shouldn't be. She looked up at me, eyes wet, breathing fast. They grabbed me. "I couldn't park here." I kept my voice low and calm. "Is that so?" The taller one puffed up his chest. "You can't live here without HOA approval. We'll be taking the vehicle and issuing fines." I let a slow smile creep across my face. "You've got 3 minutes." He frowned. "3 minutes for what?" I stepped closer. My phone. "Already in my hand? Until my people get here." They laughed, one of those loud, mocking laughs that's meant to make you feel small. But they didn't see the little blinking red light on the phone's screen, or hear the faint static of an open cum line. 2 minutes and 30 seconds later, the sound of engines rolled up the street low, controlled and very deliberate. I didn't blink when 4 black SUVs swung into the cul-de-sac. The SUVs stopped in perfect formation, doors swinging open in unison. 6 men in full tactical gear stepped out, rifles at a low ready, visors down. The HOA fakes went pale instantly, like all the bravado just leaked out of them. One of my guys. Barked hands where we can see them. The taller fake started to sputter. "We're with the HOA," but the sentence died when 2 laser dots landed square on his chest. My sister's breathing hitched, but I kept my eyes locked on. The shorter one, the one who'd twisted her arm. "That uniform," I said quietly, "isn't even regulation for any HOA. But you knew that, didn't you?" He swallowed hard. "Man, we were just trespassing, assaulting, impersonating law enforcement," I finished for him. The SWAT guys moved in quick, twisting their arms behind their backs and forcing them face down on the hot pavement. Their fake badges clinked against the concrete. The taller one whimpered when a knee pinned his spine. From the corner of my eye, I saw my sister watching, still in pain, but a little safer now. She whispered, How did they get here so fast?" I crouched beside her and smirked. "Sis, I'm still SWAT. They never took me off the roster." One of my guys looked up from frisking the taller fake. "Boss, you're going to want to see what's in their truck." I stood and followed him to the back of the rusty pickup they'd parked halfway on my lawn. The SWAT guy yanked the tailgate down and my stomach tightened. Inside were metal lockboxes, zip ties, a crowbar, and a folder stuffed with printed HOA violation notices. Every single one had my sister's name and address on it, like they'd been planning this for weeks. One notice even had a date stamped for tomorrow, listing a mandatory property seizure. I picked up the folder and flipped through it slowly, letting the silence stretch. The taller fake tried to twist his head to look at me. "That's just paperwork. Nothing illegal." I stepped closer so he could see my face. "You showed up here, broke her arm, and planned to take her home before the sun even set. That's not paperwork. That's premeditated." The shorter one started shaking his head, muttering, "It was just a job. You were paid." I crouched down, my shadow falling over him. "By who?" He bit his lip hard, like the name would. "Get him in more trouble than I could." That's when I heard the crunch of high heels on the pavement. A familiar voice, sharp, smug, cut through the air. "Step away from my officers. They're here on HOA business." I turned my head slowly, already knowing exactly who I was about to see. And there she was, Karen, white blouse, clipboard tucked under her arm. Sunglasses that covered half her face, like she thought she was some kind of secret agent. She didn't even glance at my sister on the porch. Her eyes were locked on me, daring me to challenge her. "These men are acting under the full authority of our homeowners association," she said, chin tilted high. "You're interfering with an official enforcement action." I let out a short laugh. "Official? That's funny, because the HOA doesn't even cover this street." Her lips twitched, but she kept her tone smug. "You think you're clever, but you're still in violation. And when the real police arrive, they're already here," I interrupted, nodding toward my guys. Real badges, real jurisdiction, unlike yours. One of my SWAT officers stepped up, holding a tablet. Boss, I ran the plates on there. Truck came back registered to a shell company. Guess whose name's on it? He turned the screen toward me. There it was in bold letters. Karen L. Weston. Her face froze for just a split second before she recovered. That's a misunderstanding. My lawyers save it, I said, stepping forward until we were inches apart. You ordered 2 men to assault a woman on her own property. You sent them here with tools to break in and paperwork. To steal her home? She tried to laugh it off. Can't prove any of that. I tilted my head toward the street where one of my guys was holding up a body cam. Already did. It was the first time I saw her take a step back. Karen's retreat didn't last long. Her pride wouldn't let her. She straightened her shoulders, trying to keep that fake authority in her voice. You think this little stunt scares me? I've been running this neighborhood for years. People, do what I say. I took a slow breath, making sure she could see the smirk tugging at my lips. Not today. Behind her, one of my SWAT officers was already calling in the county sheriff's department. Another was photographing everything in the truck tools, lockboxes, and those bogus notices with her signature. The 2 fake officers lay still on the pavement, now silent, the heat baking into their faces. Karen tried to sidestep me toward them, but I blocked her path. Don't move. You're part of this crime scene now. She opened her mouth to argue, but the sound of approaching sirens cut her off. Red and blue lights washed over the street, reflecting off her sunglasses. The sheriff's cruiser rolled up, and the deputy stepped out, giving me a respectful nod. Got your message, he said. Sounds like you've been busy. I gestured toward Karen, caught her sending hired muscle to break into my sister's property. Everything's on video. The deputy raised an eyebrow at Karen. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step over here. For the first time, her voice cracked. You can't arrest me. I am the HOA. The deputy gave her a cold look. No, ma'am. You're under arrest for conspiracy, trespassing, and assault. Turn around. And as the cuffs clicked shut around her wrists, my sister, still holding her arm, whispered to me, You really think she's done? I glanced at the deputy leading Karen to the cruiser and shook my head. Not yet. People like her never quit till someone makes them.